Okay, guys, my name's Moshe. I'm coming to you from Israel and the Galilee, where I've lived for quite a number of years. And I'll put my computer glasses on, and we're going to kind of just jump right in. I am not going to do the news today. This is way too important. And it was shown to me, I think, last night or yesterday afternoon, probably. So today is Monday, 8th of January, 2024, 9:01 in the morning. We'll start right in with the praise, and then I'll do some things in the chat, and we'll move forward rather quickly. I'm trying to reduce the size of these live streams, especially on this one. And it also knocks me out when I prepare for several hours in the morning, and then, I'm doing the news, and then I'm doing the Bible study, and it knocks me out. Yesterday, I was far from my best, okay? And I'm sleeping pretty good. So I'm just doing too much, and the Lord lets me run myself ragged, and then I realize I'm doing too much. So we're just going to hit the Bible study today, which is, I think, my most important work, because the ramifications of this are huge. Okay, so let's do our praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 All right, let me do a little quick work in the chat. People are still coming in. And I will get started here quickly. This doesn't take long, but it's not such a bad idea to give people a few minutes to come in. The vast majority of the people don't watch this live, of course, because of the hours, but I do it on Israel time, because there's no really good time to do it. So I just do it this way. I'm working through this. I won't be long. Almost there. Let's see, I got that right. All right. Let me make sure we got sound. I'm not sure we got sound. Let me check for sound. I think we got a problem. We may have to start over. Let me check it. All right.
And let's see if we got it. I think we got a glitch.
Something's not right. Go back to the beginning. Maybe this has no sound on it. Hold on. Oh, I got it. It was my iPad that I'm working off that had no sound. We got sound. Okay. No problem. All right. Now I'll go to my notes and we'll begin. All right. Let me set the stage for you. The illegal immigrants in America is what I'm focusing on. 70% of those are military age males. Some people have told me, one person, that they look like vigorous males. Now, the ICE people, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which used to be the old Border Patrol, I guess, or Immigration, they said they have a... Now, some people estimate that there's been about 4 million. Let's run with that number just to see where it takes us. 70% on 4 million, so that's 700,000 times 4, that's 2.8 million. That's about, rough cut, twice the size of the American military, but it's larger. It's probably like about 4 million or 5 million closer of these illegal immigrants. Okay? Biden is not closing the border, no matter what Congress does. So there's still a little bit of the puzzle not finished. Biden wants something else coming in, or more of the same coming in. I don't know which it is. Now, that is, I mean, Congress says, we're not giving any money to Ukraine or Israel or anything until you close the border. And they're even starting to impeach him. The House is starting that up again, although it's not got any fast legs. It's out there. And he refuses to close the border. There's no reason why that border should be open. Nobody is having debates on Fox or CNN about the pros and cons of letting these people in. If that's not bad enough, about 3 weeks ago, the gun stores got notices from ATF that these illegal immigrants that become legal, they enter illegally, they don't have any visa, they show up at Border Patrol in Mexico, they get help filling out the forms, they're given a map, where to go, they show up, they got the forms, I'm requesting amnesty. Millions and millions and millions doing this, right? In November, I believe there was 300,000 approximately illegal immigrants that they know about. Plus, that doesn't take into account the ones coming into Florida, which are massive numbers. They don't even count that. They're just clocking what's coming in on the border of Mexico. Okay? Now, who's feeding these people in? Well, the enemies of America, the various Muslim nations that hate America, China, North Korea, Russia, Iran, probably Venezuela, Mexico for sure. Who else is enemies? Algeria. There's a ton of them. You want to go through the list? It's massive. Okay? So, how hard is it to get into Mexico? It's not hard at all. If Mexico's in on the snare with Biden, it's a joke. And they probably are. I couldn't see any reason why Mexico's not in on this. Okay? We saw pictures of Border Patrol people welding fences open. Now, these people are coming in with and bringing with them who knows what. Okay? I don't know what they're bringing. The gun stores received a notice that if these illegals that have filed amnesty, which means they're now legal, and they're legal until 2031, and if they don't show up for their court date, well, then their papers are null and void. But how many years? 7 years from now, right? So they're legal. They can go to gun stores and buy a gun, and they do not have to go through the background investigation, the criminal records check, because there are no criminal records on them. People with CCW permits have to go through this. They don't. Is there a good reason for this? Come on. Of course not. They're not citizens. They're not permanent residents. Their court case hasn't been decided. Why are you letting them buy guns? You're getting the picture yet? Wake up. All right? If you haven't woken up, most of my people have. Wake up. Now, there's at least 3 police departments in America that are recruiting them to join the police department. So that lets them carry guns anywhere in the United States if they're full-time police officers. This thing's absurd. But the people in America are so gone, it's working. Okay? Now, I did a couple of studies in the last few days on Telegram. I did one yesterday that was rather good, explaining why America is the daughter of Babylon, with lots of statistics of the debt, how many people identify with this, that. I don't want to do it here. You can, to access my Telegram, it's free. You download the app called Telegram Messenger, okay? You install it. You send me an email and just put Telegram in the subject header, and I'll send you the link for I have several Telegram sites. I'll send you the link for that site, and you tap on the link. It's an invite link, and with the app installed in 2, 3, 4 seconds, you'll be in. It's all free. The app's free. Everything's free. Okay? And I put up maybe 100 posts a day about the wars in Yemen, Iran, and well, there's no real war with Iran, and Iraq, and Syria, and Lebanon, and Gaza. All right? I'm not going to do current events. So this is so extraordinarily crazy, it leads me to believe Jeremiah 50 verse 24 says that God, Jehovah, Father God, Jehovah in heaven, the Father of Yeshua, HaMashiach, is his firstborn son who rose from the dead and is seated on the right hand of God the Father in the third heaven, has put a snare on the daughter of Babylon, which is America. Okay? Now, I've told you several times that Biden worked with Netanyahu to put the October 7th snare on Israel. All right? And that is causing Israel to engage boldly in wars in Gaza and now a second front with Lebanon. And America never did anything like they said they would if another country opened a second front, i.e. Lebanon. They didn't do anything. Okay? And they're giving Israel weapons, so Israel's feeling bold. Netanyahu's in on it, and they keep attacking. Okay? We get small attacks out of Syria from Iraqi and Syrian militia that shoot sporadically, like every few days. They try to take shots at the Golan Heights or something, right? And the Houthis, they can't do much to us. They've tried shooting missiles up into Eilat, and they, I guess, 95, 99% of them fail. And now they're attacking shipping to punish Israel economically. And America's basically done nothing about this, except patrolling with ships. Whoopee-doo. And this forming a coalition, now they're up to 21 nations. They're all going to bring some ships there, and they're going to attack the Houthis. Now, I don't think they're going to get real and drop 500 or 800 missiles on the Houthis at strategic targets. First of all, if they did, it wouldn't do any good, because you better believe The Houthis have numerous underground storage facilities, bunkers, tunnels, etc. Okay? And America's announced this, giving them plenty of time to move their most valuable assets underground. Okay? Now, if you're going to attack a country, why do you want to warn them? Just do it. Israel is playing stupid with Lebanon. All right? And Lebanon shoots missiles, we shoot back. It's like two guys in the ring. He throws a punch, the other side throws a punch. He throws. Sooner or later, you play this game, you're going to get hit. It's a moron's game. Okay? And the leaders of Israel know better. They need to do a preemptive strike. Why are they not doing it? Well, Biden's probably telling them not to do it. Period. If Biden's not saying, oh, don't do this because if you do this will happen. No, don't do it. So they keep dancing and they keep escalating, and the people in Israel are freaked out to some extent. And people say that Lebanon's got 150 to 250,000 missiles, and they got huge missiles and killer missiles and guided missiles and all kinds of missiles and all this stuff. Yet Israel behaves the way it's behaving. So something's not right. Okay? Why doesn't it? Look, let's just play it a little easier. Israel takes 25 jets, puts them in the air. Let's say they each have 4 bombs. Okay? They fly over Lebanon and they drop their bombs. That's on 100 targets. And it would take a few minutes, maybe 15 minutes. Okay? Then they pull back and they call Lebanon on the phone and they say, listen, what we just did, we're going to do 6 or 8 times every day without stopping, okay, till you cease and desist all your missile firing and move your troops back to the Litany or the Libni River, roughly 15 miles from the Israel border. And if you don't do it, we're just going to obliterate that whole area of the 15-mile zone to the Libni River. We're going to do it, okay? Now, Lebanon is going to freak out. The people that live in Lebanon in the south have already evacuated. 80,000 Israelis have gone into captivity, not really, because they're still in Israel, but they had to leave their homes. And a large number had to leave South Israel by Gaza. I don't have the exact count, but it's probably at least 50, 60,000, I guess. And then Yahoo is just sitting there, I'm in tight with Satan. I'm doing good, right? And this is a snare on Israel to get Israel sucked in to a multi-front war. And then Israel just says, I'm sorry, Congress isn't going to approve any more aid to you unless I close the border. I'm not closing the border, so you're on your own. Now, Netanyahu knows this is going to happen, as does his henchmen. They know this. Ben Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, I do not believe are his henchmen, but the others do. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them are in on it. All the Netanyahu's appointees are in on it and stuff like that. So, they're all F-spots. Come on. Every government in the world is run by F-spots. Every major business is run by F-spots. Okay? Forget that. That's a given. There's no debating on that. So, what do? Well, where's it going to go? I don't know which way it's going to go, but America worked with Netanyahu to set a snare for Israel, and they're trying to execute the snare. It will not work. God did not set this snare for Israel. This is part of the snare he set for America. Now, you have to understand he's using Biden to work the snare against America. The 10 horns from the beast are going to burn the whore, which is Washington, D.C. in Revelation 17, and eat her flesh. The whole country's going. It's not restricted to Washington, D.C. Don't go there. That's church garbage if they ever come forth with it. So that's what it is. Okay, why can't the snare be done by the internal government? That's what America's trying to do to Israel, using their internal government to put the snare on them. The Israeli people don't see this. Very few are suspicious, and they see something's wrong with October 7th, but they're not getting the pieces put together. They don't understand the prophecies. If you don't understand the prophecies, you're not going to get the pieces put together. And they don't understand the prophecies, sadly, but that is going to change soon. So, this is one big reason why Ezekiel 34 is about to happen when the bad shepherds of Israel cut off. They took it too far. Lots of people died on October 7th. Yeah, there was some lunatics running around trying to heal the world with music. I know that. But a lot of the people just living, hardworking people living in kibbutzes and moshavs got killed. And they were not out there trying to heal the world with music. And many got taken prisoner. And some are still prisoners. And Biden didn't want Netanyahu coming over there. And on February 20th, well, a few days before the 20th, all of a sudden Biden said, well, yeah, Netanyahu could come over here. Then on the 20th, Netanyahu comes over here, and a little more than 2 weeks later, we have this extremely unusual intelligence failure and a massacre in Israel. I was sitting outside. I saw the nonstop rockets coming into Israel early in the morning. And nobody knew what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. And we didn't hear any planes striking back for at least 3 or 3.5 hours. Usually it's minutes. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. 3.5 hours. And then the military people on the outposts and stuff that were getting overrun, when they see they're getting a swarm coming out of Gaza, there was thousands of them, they get on the horn and they say, hey, we need help. And then what happens? Jets show up, helicopters show up, tanks show up, troops show up. In minutes, 7, 8 minutes. It took 7, 8 hours. Come on, let's not be stupid. 2 + 2 = 4. Okay? So what Biden got Netanyahu to cook up on Israel is happening to America. And Biden is not escaping from it. He thinks he is. He's not. So what I'm telling you today, now, is that the invasion of America, let's get our heads off of thinking about Russia sending 80 warships, China sending 80 warships, China sending, 600 planes, Russia sending 600 planes. Let's get off that. That's not how the snare is working. The snare is working with these illegal immigrants, 70% military age. Let's get real. They're already there. They're already in America. I don't know how many people went to the Muslim training camps over the last 20 or 30 or 40 years, however long they've been around, and what kind of equipment they have there. But I'm not going to get into the technical equipment, like how they can build rockets and stuff like that. We know they can. Look at Hamas building stuff smuggled from Egypt, doing it underground. And how come Egypt lets all this happen? Years ago, they flooded the tunnels Gaza was doing. Why did they let it happen? Where did they get all these weapons? They don't come in on the Mediterranean. Our Navy stops it. They don't come in from any other land border. It's impossible. So it had to come from Egypt. And Netanyahu uses Egypt to negotiate with Hamas. Well, is Egypt not in on it? Why did they let all this happen? A massive amount of missiles and stuff they built. Tunnel making material. How could Egypt not know this? And Netanyahu runs to Egypt for help to negotiate. And the Israeli people put up with it. They're not yet awake. Now, what about all the people that got killed on the massacre? Yeah, but let's take it further. What about all the people that got killed in Gaza? I don't know, 160 soldiers and assorted civilians, had houses blown up, cars blown up, streets blown up. They got wounded, injured, and a few got killed, and they had to leave their homes. And in Lebanon, not that many soldiers have gotten killed from Israel, but they have lost soldiers and had wounded, and 80,000 people had to leave their homes. Do you think the Lord is happy about that? I don't. Do you think the Lord told them to do it? No, we're in the year of recompenses. He may have, I don't know, but they're going to get a payback for it. Okay? It's not the same as it was. Look what happened to Hamas. Now they're trying to keep Hamas functional and active in Israel. Biden's blowing his stack over, paying them money to move out to other countries. No other country will take these people in. 85%, and maybe it's 90% now, of the residences have been blown up or damaged. And the other Gazan people have looted the houses of the people that went to go live in the South, in tents and tent cities and stuff like that. What are they going to come back to? 90-something days, and they're still shooting rockets into Israel. Now, you're going to tell me Netanyahu didn't slow the war down because he's worried about his own criminal cases? And the courts are getting ready to throw him out of office because of a conflict of interest with his criminal cases. But that could divide the country, which is something we might see yet. But I know this government's going down. That's it. Okay? And the rich fat cats are going. The 2/3 are going to get cut off. All right? Because look how complicit they are. Look how they oppress the Israeli people. Because they think they're special. They're prideful and arrogant because they communicate with the unclean spirits and host them inside them and all of this stuff. Okay? They're going. It's in the scriptures. But that's not what I'm here for. Now I set the stage. So what I'm going to do is go through Jeremiah 50 and 51, verse by verse, and show you how there's extremely great matchups between October 7th and the sleeper agents inside America. And I'm going to do word studies, and I'm going to show you that this is real by the scriptures, not just a theory. But I'm going to take a fast break for a minute. I'll be right back. And questions can be posted in the chat. I do periodically check the chat for questions, but I don't do it every 5 minutes, but I do get around to it. not going to eat anything, drink any soup, nothing. Water and coffee, but I think I'm finished with coffee. Okay, let us begin. I'll check the chat real fast to see if there's anything I need to answer or do something with. I'm not going to do the news today. This is way too... Something's not right here, I don't think. I don't know what it is. Well, I know the chat's not working. What's cooking here? It's a glitch here. Working with these illegal immigrants, 70%. No, I think I got it straightened out. All right. I think we're okay. Let me just check this on my phone. I just want to make sure everything's okay. I don't want to go through all this and then have to repeat it. Oh, there we are. Let me get this. It's giving me a terrible time loading. I don't know why. All right. I've got it. Oh, I think we're okay. I'll leave this out, check it periodically. All right. Jeremiah 50, verse 1. Now, I don't have time to sit here and prove that this is the daughter of Babylon. There's a million people on the internet that have done that. And there's probably about 20 reasons why in these two chapters. And I don't have time today for that, so we're not going to do it. And here we go. Verse 1 in Jeremiah 50. The word that the Lord spake against Babel and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare you among the nations, the Goyim, the heathen, and publish and set up a standard. The word for standard is like, I don't know, like a sign, a flag, a staff, something like that. Set up a standard. Could that be the Palestinian flag? I don't know. Publish and conceal not. Say Babylon is taken. Now the word for taken is Strong's number 3920 in the Hebrew, and it's an interesting word. It means to catch or trap or captured, like a snare. It is meaning a snare. Babylon is taken. It should be like snared or captured. Bel is confounded. Bel's one of the old demon idols from the old Babylon. Merodach, same thing, is broken. I think it was a statue, so was Bel at that point. Is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. I've done many studies showing you the idols, the graven images in America, and there's no time to do it again. Verse 3, for out of the north there cometh up a nation, that's Goyim, heathen. The north would be Canada, against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell thereon. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. So people are going to get out. More on that as we progress. In those days, and in that time, saith Jehovah, the children of Israel shall come. Okay, when in those days at that time, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah. Well, that's the second Exodus. So he's telling us when it happens to the daughter of Babylon, it's the same time as the second Exodus. Voila! Be excited. You'll be excited when this is finished. In a good way. Remember, it's prophecy being fulfilled. You don't have to worry if you're truly in Yeshua HaMashiach, or really don't have to worry if you're native, if you're an Israel-born person, because you'll be getting out of there. More on that. Going and weeping, they shall go and seek the Lord. They shall seek Jehovah Elohim, is what it says. They shall ask the way to Zion, it's east, with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to Jehovah in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. When they go to Israel, they stopped in the wilderness. It's found in Ezekiel 20, starting at verse 33, Jeremiah 16, and Jeremiah 23. No time to cover that. They stopped in the wilderness and they pass under the rod and enter into the bond of the covenant. Those that are continuing to sin out there in the wilderness get cut off and die in the wilderness. But for his name's sake, Jehovah takes all the Israelites out of the daughter of Babylon. And from all the other countries, he brings them out for his name's sake. They go to the wilderness, and the bad ones get cut off in the wilderness. They don't make it to Israel. I don't know how long they stay in the wilderness. My guess is not 40 years, maybe more like 40 days. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. That's why the shepherds, the bad ones, are getting destroyed in Ezekiel 34. They fit together, the passages. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. Yeah, they don't. Most of them don't even want to come to Israel. All that found them have devoured them. And their adversaries say, we offend not, because they have sinned against Jehovah, the habitation of justice, even Jehovah, the hope of their fathers. So this is in Zechariah, I think 1 or 2, I think chapter 2. They furthered the punishment that Jehovah wanted on them, on the Israelites, the 2,000 years of Hosea 6, 1 and 2. That's over because we're in the year of recompenses, which I told you began on or around August 1st, so we're deeply into it. Remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flocks, speaking to the Israelites. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babel an assembly of great nations. The word for assembly is Strong 6951 number. An assemblage, multitude, congregation. Okay, I've caused an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Okay. Now, an assembly of great heathen nations. It sounds more like sleeper agents than it does an army, doesn't it to you? Does to me. But it's related, the army and the sleeper agents, and they shall set themselves in array against her. Okay. From thence she shall be taken, and the word taken is captured or seized. What are they going to capture and seize? The military bases. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert. Their weapons, their shooting will be very good. None shall return in vain. Okay. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. That's the daughter of Babylon. They're going to loot and pillage her just like they did to Israel on October 7th. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Jehovah. Means what it says. Because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O you destroyers of my heritage, because you are grown fat as the heifer at grass and bellow as bulls. Now, because you rejoiced, destroyers of my heritage, it's probably more or less the top dogs in America, the Espots. Your mother, that's the whore of Babylon in Revelation 17, that was probably operating in the old Babylon. So it's the same unclean spirit thing. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations, that's the latest of the nations. God only has 70 nations. He doesn't listen to the UN and their names. And the last nation to be formed would be America. Shall be a wilderness, that's the future of America, a dry land and a desert. Because the wrath of Jehovah, because of the wrath of Jehovah, it shall not be inhabited ever again. But it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goeth by Babel shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourself in array against Babel, round about. That's round about. All you that bend the bow, military. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Jehovah. The arrows could be missiles, rockets, maybe even bombs or bullets or whatever. Shout against her round about, she hath given her hand. It's pretty late in the day to imagine this being medieval weapons, you know. She hath given her hand. I think it's allegorical what the weapon descriptions are. She hath given her hand. This really, I don't know how it could not be that. She hath given her hand. That means she surrenders. So Biden's still in control. Biden surrenders as soon as this stuff starts. And that's a key point. Giving her hand means surrender. And that's why the people stay in their holes. They're afraid to fight and come out, amongst other reasons that God could put this spirit of fear on them. But their military is gone. They don't know what to do. So they lock themselves up, and wherever they're going to lock themselves up, it could be the survivalists and the preppers he's talking about or whatever. And they just try to stay there. They don't know what to do. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. The only real walls they have is the Mexico-American wall. And they're coming in through Mexico. They came in past tense through Mexico. So I would say Mexico's in on the snare. And all they got to do to knock the walls down is ram them with trucks or blow them up with missiles, rockets, or explosives or anything. For it is the vengeance of Jehovah. Take vengeance upon her, as she hath done, do unto her. Now, what did she do? She worked with Netanyahu to do October 7th. What's happening to America is like October 7th, the same people, even. And it'll be the same brutality. When it says burn her flesh and burn her and eat her flesh, I'm telling you that cannibalism will be real. Cut off the sown from Babel. But didn't it happen when God turned against Israel in 70 AD? They ate their own children. That's like a curse of the Lord. It will happen. Cut off the sower from Babel. That's the ones that work the agriculture. And him that handleth the sickle, the harvesting, in the time of harvest. Handle the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword. They shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land. This week, I don't know if we've seen it yet. We may have, but we probably will know more about it. They're going to get so scared when it heats up in America with the sleeper agents, they're going to run back to their own countries. God's going to let them get out because they're not really Americans. They've only been there a brief number of years, and they came there to work and make a living, and they're not, voters, and these are not illegal aliens. These are people that came there to work, Some could be there illegally, but they're going to go back to where they came from. I'm in Jeremiah 50:17. Israel is a scattered sheep, so the second Exodus hasn't happened yet. The lions have driven him away. First the king of Assyria hath devoured him, and last this Nebuchadnezzar. This Nebuchadnezzar, the word for this is Zay, which means this one. If someone's going to introduce me, they would say Zay Moshe. I'm going to meet somebody and say Zay Moshe. Yochanan, Zay Moshe. That's like introducing me to Yochanan, right? This. Okay, and last this Nebuchadnezzar, that currently the best candidate for that is Biden. King of Babylon, Biden, hath broken his bones. Well, does that mean that there may be more bad things to come from America? Yeah, it does, but October 7th, the Hamas war, the Lebanon war, and all that, the Houthis and Iraq and Syria, it could be. It could be. And it goes back in time. Remember, in 1948, America put an arms embargo on Israel, knowing that Russia was supplying the Arab states with weapons to kill Israel. And the UN and the United States separately, but at the same time, put arms embargoes on Israel. So Israel had to buy garbage weapons from Czechoslovakia and rehab them, but they still won. 1973, Nixon had been telling Israel that we'll give you all the weapons, the bullets and bombs and so forth you need for that war. And the war started, Nixon called, you could check all this in Google. Nixon called up the Prime Minister of Israel at the time, I don't remember who it was, and said, I can't give you the weapons for 5 days out of respect for the Arabs. So Israel was swinging on the vine for 5 days. So I think he gave Israel 5 days to get destroyed by the Arabs. And if that worked, then they never would have had to give him weapons. There'd be nobody to give them to. And they thought that Israel would be destroyed, but Israel wasn't destroyed. So at the end of the 5 days, they gave Israel weapons. And then they started learning their lesson. 1948, 1967, 1973. that when these Arab countries attacked Israel, Israel would win and they started getting land back. So then they forced Israel to give back the Sinai Peninsula. Then years later, they forced Israel to give back Gaza. And Israel occupied Lebanon in 2006 for 25 miles, and they forced Israel to leave. And now they're trying to force Israel to give the West Bank back. So there's been, you don't have to necessarily look for this as what happened in the last 90 days. You can look back at the history of 1948 with America, and it's been a dismal history. America is supporting Arab states all over Israel, all around Israel. They have military presence, 13,500 in Kuwait, and they have a similar amount, I believe, in Jordan. And then they got 58,000 soldiers recently in many Arab states comprising Greater Israel to protect them from who? Probably us. I'm in Jeremiah 50:18. Therefore, thus saith Jehovah of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babel and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria. Now, I should talk about how the king of Assyria was punished. I skipped something. Jeremiah 50, verse 9. Sorry, I'm doing my notes. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babel the assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Okay. When it says raised, it means open their eyes. It's not a great translation. Strong's number 5782. So what God did is he opened their eyes to the idea that they could take out the daughter of Babylon. And then they could run the world. And that's what BRICS is, to run the world. Those are your 10 horns. Okay? That's after they dump America and get rid of it, they're going to use BRICS. Got it? Now back to verse 18. We deal with Assyria. So let me get my notes on that. That's a pretty good one, the Assyria. Let me find it. By the way, what Satan has undoubtedly is plans that all the Israelites, 10 tribes, Judah, the 2 tribes, and the true believers in America would get destroyed too. He's not that stupid. So he would definitely be gunning for that. And, verse 15 says what she had done to Israel, it's going to happen to her. And the October 7th on that is like a really, 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 really close match. Okay. Nineveh, the ancient Assyrian city, was destroyed in 612 BC. The destruction of Nineveh was carried out by a coalition of Babylonians, Medes, and Scythians, a coalition who sacked and burned the city. This event marked the end of the Assyrian Empire. This is Jeremiah 18. They sacked the city, which is looted and pillaged it and burned it. That's what happens to the daughter of Babylon. What happened to Assyria? Nineveh is just the capital of it. But the whole empire went. Okay. Now we're in verse 19, Jeremiah 15:19. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. So this is again tying things to the second Exodus, obviously. Verse 20, in those days and in that time, saith the Lord, in those days and at that time. And the word time is et, which would be time. Now, it's more like at the same time, you would say, which you get from the English, actually. And in that time, saith Jehovah, the iniquity of Israel, the lawlessness of Israel, shall be sought for, and there shall be none. So, Zechariah 12 is, well, at least Malachi 3 with the literal Elijah training the Levites to make the offerings acceptable unto the Lord has happened. So the two witnesses are already openly working. Shall be sought for, and there shall be none. And the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found. It says the iniquity of Israel as well, and the sins of Judah at that time. So what is this telling us? How can the lawlessness of Israel be relieved at that time? We'll have to pray for that. For I will pardon them whom I reserve. Well, that's the answer. He just forgives us. Because he closed our eyes, and the Israelites' eyes, and stopped up their ears, lest they turn to him and be healed, and the punishment wouldn't be full. So he just forgives them. That's it. Go up against the land of Merathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod. These are the demon idol things from the original Babylon. Waste and utterly destroy after them, saith Jehovah, and do according to all that I have commanded thee. So he's telling, maybe they don't know it, but he's telling the attackers against the daughter of Babylon what to do, but they may not understand that. And he could be just leading them without their knowledge. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? That's America. And broken. How is Babel become a desolation among the nations, among the heathen? I have laid a snare for thee, that's for America, and thou art also taken in the snare, O Babel, and thou wast not aware, thou art found, and also caught in the snare, because thou hast striven against Jehovah. The snare's well down the road in play now. There's probably some more piece or pieces that Biden wants to put into it because he's keeping the border open. But Biden has to do things quietly, or the military could rise up in revolution against him, and then everything falls apart, which will not happen. So he has to watch what he does, okay? And how open he gets it, how open he acts. Jehovah has opened, you see what they're doing is China in on the snare, is stirring the pot in the Pacific, and this gives Biden an excuse or an alibi to move a lot of naval vessels, planes, soldiers over to the region. They mess with the Philippines, they mess with Japan, they mess with Taiwan, South Korea, North Korea messes forth. So North Korea just fired a bunch of artillery shells again yesterday at the water next to South Korea. It didn't hit South Korea, they put it in the water. So this gives Biden more excuses to send more military to the American base in South Korea and more military equipment and stuff like that. They keep surrounding Taiwan with ships and penetrating her airspace, but they never attack. So it gives Biden an excuse to put more military resources outside of America into the Pacific. You getting it? Okay. Now, with Ukraine and Russia, it's the same thing. He's putting military resources into countries near Russia, like Finland, and I guess, and selling or moving equipment to other countries near Russia, and tons of equipment into Ukraine. Okay? Tons and tons, running the backup supplies of America down to a very dangerous level. Never attacks Russia. Comes to the Middle East with aircraft carriers and destroyers and missile cruisers and planes and troops and puts them all over the place, but it looks like he's really protecting these greater Israel countries against Israel. Because they really don't have an enemy. Who's their enemy? Iran? Maybe. Can Iran attack, beat, and kill Oman, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Jordan, all at the same time? Hard to imagine. Maybe. Hard to imagine, though. He hasn't done anything with Lebanon like he said he would. He hasn't done any fighting in Hamas. So America is not interested in killing and damaging these parts of the snare on Israel. They won't. They haven't. The Houthis, you'll see ditto. They made some token attacks against the militias in Iraq and Syria because they have to do something. Otherwise, they could face a revolution from the American military that are not in on it, you know. And they haven't done anything to Iran, which is responsible for all this. And in late December, they released billions and billions of sanction money to Iran. So in the middle of this fracas, they gave Iran billions and billions and billions of dollars. And now tell me that America's the real enemy of Iran. They say they are, but what do their actions say? He's not attacking Iran. Biden's not attacking anybody. Biden's just using these fights to move military resources out of America, but with Israel, he's setting a snare. And Russia is working the snare in Europe with Ukraine. And to weaken the NATO countries, they're throwing all kinds of military equipment at Ukraine to keep it in the war. But nobody's attacking Russia. No one's attacking North Korea. No one's attacking China. No one's attacking Iran. No one's attacking Russia. Except for Israel, no one's attacking Lebanon or Gaza. So what Biden's doing is he doesn't want to destroy his allies in the destruction of the daughter of Babylon. He just wants it to look like he will, so he doesn't get the military to the point where they want to get rid of him. Because then it's over for them. They got to watch that. Jeremiah 50:25. The Lord hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation, his anger. For this is the work of Adonai Jehovah. This is Jehovah's snare of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. That's in the land of America. Come against her from the utmost border. Open her warehouses. Okay, come against her from the utmost border. Okay, now we need to look at what the utmost border means, right? And it's Strong's number 4480 is one word, which is from, I guess you could say, would be accurate. And the next word is 7093, Ketz. Word is like end. Let's see. What does Strong say? Extremity, the utmost extremity. That we could say is Alaska, but they would have to come through Canada. We could also say it's Canada. We'll get into this further on. Cast her up as heaps and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks. Those bullocks, the bulls, they're not the animals. I think he's referencing things like the police, federal agents, and stuff like that. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. God doesn't do a visitation just to kill animals, for crying out loud. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babel to declare in Zion, so they come to Israel, the vengeance of Jehovah. So this is likely the day of vengeance, right? Our God, the vengeance of his temple. Well, you see, the same unclean spirits, Merathion and Bel and all them, were in the old Babylon, and the Hur was basically the same unclean spirit in the old Babylon. So he's punishing the Hur by getting rid of the land she's married to, America, and getting rid of her children, which is the Espots. Things got no more power. And then the beast burns her and eats her flesh, Revelation 17. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babel to declare in Zion the vengeance of Jehovah, the vengeance of his temple. Call together the archers against Babel, all you that bend the bow. Camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape. So y'all will get out, but the people that are not part of Israel and are not true believers are going to not get out. Except the ones that left before it comes down. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done, do unto her, for she hath been proud against Jehovah, against the Holy One of Israel. Yep. See, America is the real big seat of the churches, the churchianity, false churches, okay? And that's the big seat. Now, America had these churches for, gosh, I mean, they were all over the place in the 1700s. Now, South Korea has a lot of Christians, but when did that start? Other countries have a lot of Christians, but started later. They caught the spread of the false gospel, the other Jesus and all that from the American churches. And that's a big abomination in the eyes of the Lord. Therefore shall your young men fall in the streets, and all the men of war shall be cut off. So every military person in America, no matter what branch of the service they're in, is going to get cut off. Yeah, there's no other explanation for this. In that day, saith the Lord, behold. Now, it may just include the men of war that are in America. It may not include the ones that are outside of America. It's likely they may not be included. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith Jehovah saith Adonai Jehovah of armies, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. That's real doom and gloom. Visit. And the most proud shall stumble and fall. That's your expires. They're very proud. And none shall raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities. Who kindles the fire? Well, it says, none shall raise him up, and then there's one big phrase, and I will kindle. Now, there's only one Hebrew word for that, and the word means kindle or set on fire. So we're saying, none shall raise him up, and then it says, kindle, the word should be esh, yeah, fire, kindle fire, and then it says, like terror. Or it could also mean cities. So I think we could go with cities, and it shall devour, and the word for devour is Akal 398. It means, I would use it, it'd say burn up, and shall burn up all round about him. So it doesn't say God kindles the fire. Thus saith Jehovah of armies, the children of Israel. See, it doesn't say I will kindle a fire. It says kindle fires, the cities. You know, it's a little different. Thus saith Jehovah of armies, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast. They refused to let them go. That's a past tense. So that doesn't leave much room for this to be happening again in America. I thought it might be, but you're reading this in the past. Thus saith Jehovah of armies, the children of Israel and the children of Judah. Well, the word war is not there. It says oppressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast. Well, all that took them captive is probably 125 countries, well, that they exiled into, and quite a few countries took them captive. So they refused to let them go. They didn't want them going back to Israel, of course. That's why. Their Redeemer, now that has a connotation of year of redemption, does it not? Is strong. Jehovah of armies is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land, that's Haaretz, that's Israel, and disquiet the inhabitants of Babel. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith Jehovah, and that's war, and upon the inhabitants of Babel, that means the population of America, and upon her princes and upon her wise men, the expires, the big shots. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people. That's the melting pot, America, the mingled people that are in the midst of her. And they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. That's the looting. Their treasures. So they're probably going to, I don't know what they're going to get to museums and go to the rich people's houses. I'm not sure. Bank vaults, whatever. There's a lot of places they can go. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. For it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there. So the animals are going to be living there. Shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. This is showing us the future. It's never going to come back. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, how did God overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah? Fire and brimstone came down from heaven. Remember the two men that the people of Sodom wanted to rape, and Lot said, "No, come in my house." And he took them in the house, and they blinded the guys. And then they led Lot out of the house, out of the city. And they said, "We can't do nothing until you're out of the city." And then fire and brimstone came down. Did it ever occur to you that these two men were not called angels, and that they would be the two witnesses, Yeshua's brothers from heaven, Apostle John and Elijah? Not in the earthly form when they came to earth, but in their heavenly form. If that is correct, then they may be calling the fire down on America. Quick break. Think on that one. You ain't gonna hear this in the churches. You know, guys, I'm gonna brew a fast cup of coffee to get through this, because I gotta still do Jeremiah 51. So I got a turbo water boiler. It's instant coffee. Be right back.
Let's get right back in.
And the two witnesses are God's sons, Zechariah 4:14, the anointed sons. Yeshua is the firstborn son. He's the only begotten because he was born of a flesh woman and the Holy Spirit. But they're not angels. But each produce after its own kind. So God produced after his own kind. All right. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Now, it may not be the case, and it may be the case. I don't have a lot of clarity on this yet. You can pray about it. It'd be a good thing. Behold, the people... I don't think they actually burned the daughter of Babylon. I'm not sure. I don't think so. Behold, so maybe that's not the case, but the analogy here could be that like Sodom and Gomorrah, no one ever lived there anymore. That's how it's going to be in America. That could just be it. So it may not be that. Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation and many kings shall be raised up. Raised up word, it means more like woken up, aroused. They're all mad at America. America's busting up China, Russia, Iran, and other countries with sanctions, destroying them, that kind of thing. And a great nation and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. 10 kings, 10 horns. Probably bricks. They shall hold, it may not be bricks ultimately, but that might be the plan of Satan, is for bricks. But it seems that bricks is planning to take over as the financial hub of the world, thus to control nations and stuff like that after the daughter of Babylon is gone. But it doesn't work that way. Israel's the head of the nations. So bricks may prove to never be the 10 kings. I don't know yet. We'll see. It's not important for the Bible study today, though. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy, like what happened to Israel on October 7th. Got it? Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array, like a man to the battle, against thee, O daughter of Babel. Now, if they're riding like upon horses, it seems that they're already there. You can't come across the Atlantic and the Pacific. Well, they could come in through Canada. Yeah, we'll see how this plays. The king of Babel hath heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. They're probably going to kill him too. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman travail. Yeah, they're going to get rid of him. They don't have any more use for him. These are vicious, savage people. They'll break their word with him. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan unto the habitation of the strong. But I will make them suddenly run away from her. And who, now, this appears to me, it's hard to place this. Like a lion from the swelling of the Jordan, that may not be actually Jordan, but it could be. because it says the habitation of the strong. This is Israel post Zechariah 12, I guess. But I will make them suddenly run away from her. Or maybe it is Zechariah 12. Who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me? Well, who is he going to have run Israel in Isaiah 1? The two witnesses, the two prophets. Who is like me? Everyone reproduce after their own kind. They're God's sons. You got it? And who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore, the shepherd would not be the two witnesses. It would be the anointed prince from the line of David. And I don't think he's referencing Yeshua, but he might be. Therefore, hear you the counsel of Jehovah that he hath taken against Babel, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans were witches, astrologers, soothsayers, fortune teller type people, that kind of thing, trying to predict the future. Sure, you can predict the future, like astrology is predicting the future and stuff like that, The land of the Chaldeans, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. As the noise of the taking of Babel, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the Goyim, the nations. 51 verse 1. I'm not wasting time, just going right through this. Thus saith Jehovah, behold, I will raise up against Babel and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me a destroying wind. Now, the word for destroying is shakat, which probably means destroying, but it can mean corrupt or destroying. And the word for wind is ruach. So destroying wind's not a bad translation. And will send unto Babel fanners that shall fan her. That's the threshing floor. They get rid of the chaff and they take the wheat. This is her harvest. This is second Exodus, the wheat. That shall fan and shall empty her land. That's empty her of the spoils. For the day of trouble. The day of trouble is, that word is, you could say that. It's a bad or evil day, I guess. Evil or bad, it's pretty okay translation. The day of trouble, they shall be against her round about. Round about. Now that means from places round about. I think it's an okay. From round about. It's okay translation. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, and spare you not her young men, destroy utterly all her hosts. That's her army. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, that's America, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of Jehovah, of hosts, of armies, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. That's the 2,000-year punishment. He knew this would happen. Then the punishment came on them for what they did to the Messiah. 2,000-year punishment, a double punishment. Now we get a double reward. 1,000-year. Well, a double reward. It doesn't say 1,000, but we get a double reward, and it extends into eternity. So God pardons their sins. Flee out of that scripture is sort of foreign to churchianity. Flee out of, one of the things that really boiled over with evil was the churchianity churches. 380,000 churches in America, I believe. Or was it 38,000? I don't remember. It's a massive figure. It's ridiculous, Flee out of the midst of Babel and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her lawlessness. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. Day of vengeance, I would say. The word for time is hisman. No, it's et. When time of the Lord's vengeance, he will render unto her a recompense. Day of vengeance, recompense, year of recompenses. Got it? These are the clues. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunk. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Yeah, they're all crazy, you know that. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Suddenly is the key word. What is that word? 6597. Surprisingly, suddenly, what's the word? Pitom. Straightway, suddenly. Suddenly or surprisingly. It's very similar meaning. Fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. So, if so be, she may be healed. Now, the word for healed is a Rapha word. It's tied to like a doctor. It means healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Does it say that they tried to heal her? Not really. Well, it says it could be they tried, or it just was impossible. She's not going to repent of they're evil. That's it. We would have healed Babel, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Wow. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion, in Israel, the work of Jehovah Elohim. It's his work. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Jehovah hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. It's the spirit of the Medes. Now, the Median Empire includes some of the favorites: Iran, Russia, South Russia, I guess you'd say, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, that former USSR country, not the one by Florida. And, like I told you, Iran is in there. My, oh my, what a match. Raise up the spirit of the king of the Medes, for his device, is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Jehovah, the vengeance of his temple. Same unclean spirits that were, Bel, Merodach, all that, Pekod, were with Babylon that destroyed Israel, knocking out Solomon's temple and taking all the good things, the menorah and all that stuff back to Babylon. So Is the vengeance of Jehovah the vengeance of his temple. So he's getting rid of the unclean spirits, killing her children, getting rid of her land that she's married to and all that. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babel. Make the watch strong. Set up, now that's the walls, is the Mexican border. Make the watch strong. Well, are they not watching down at the border now? For illegals in Texas anyway, and other places. So we read this again. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. That's the Mexico-America wall. Make the watch strong. And that's increasing now. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes, for Jehovah hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babel. Ambushes. So that's ambushes is ambushes, like bushwhack or something, right? So are they going to bushwhack the people coming in from Mexico? I don't know. And that gets them mad, then they swarm in and knock the walls down? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they ambush the watchmen or something. I don't know yet. O thou that dwellest upon many waters abundant. Well, they dwell in the Great Lakes, 8,000 rivers, probably about that many lakes. Gulf of Mexico, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. There's a lot of water. Abundant in treasure, super rich country. Thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness, and it's real covetous. The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars. And they shall lift, so there's going to be a lot of them. They shall lift up a shout against thee. He hath made, well, there's a lot of shouts against America with the Palestinians protesting against Israel in America. They have slogans and other things, you know. He hath made the earth by his power. He hath established the world by his wisdom. And he hath stretched out the heavens by his understanding. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heaven. Not a vacuum, is it? The the firmament, water on the other side. And he causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasure. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. God, you shall have, make no graven image, 10 Commandments, nor worship it. Right? Okay. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod. You could interpret that branch, like Romans 11, but the rod of his inheritance, probably better the branch of his inheritance, Jehovah of armies is his name. Thou art my battle axe and my weapons of war. Now, this is pertaining to Israel, not the daughter of Babylon. Because the previous verse is he's saying, Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things. Okay. So, Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. With thee will I break into pieces the heathen, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. Has Israel not destroyed Gaza? And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and women. Have we not killed men and women in Gaza? And with thee will I break in pieces old and young. We have done that in Gaza. And with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. We have done that in Gaza and somewhat in Lebanon. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock. We have destroyed their flocks and agriculture in Gaza. And up by Lebanon too. Of course, fires up there and stuff like that. And with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman, that's the agricultural worker, we've done that, and his yoke of oxen. And with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. Well, we've done a lot of targeted assassinations on hitting houses and places like that in Gaza. Never heard that before, did you, huh? And I will render unto Babel, I mean the whole thing I just did. Never heard that before, right? And I will render unto Babel and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight. So that is current evil, but they've done enough of that already. Saith Jehovah, in your sight. Well, most of the people don't know it, but I've been broadcasting it. Behold, I am, on Twitter, on Telegram here, Well, I think it's even on my website. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Jehovah, which destroyest all the earth, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks and will make thee a burnt mountain. These burnt land, burnt mountain. And they shall not take thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Jehovah. Set up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the goyim. So the sleeper agents, if you will, are blowing the trumpet, So they're all going to attack probably the military bases at a pretty close time period. I'm just reading into it, but that sounds good to me. Prepare the goyim against her. Call together against her the kingdom of Arad, Mini, and Ashkenaz. These are the stand nations that were former USSR nations, so they're going to be in the mix. Appoint a captain against her. Cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, Median Empire, the captains thereof, and the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. This pointing into Iran heavily, I think. Not exclusively, but pretty heavy. No. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Jehovah shall be performed against Babel, to make the land of Babel a desolation without an inhabitant. Okay. He's very, very clear about Jehovah is what he's going to, how the outcome of America is. A desolation without an inhabitant. The mighty men of Babel have forborne to fight. Well, why would they stop fighting? The military's gone. Biden surrendered. They don't know what to do. What are the mighty men? Let's look up there. Gabor. The strong. Doesn't mean It could be warrior. Yeah, it could be the army. It could be the mighty men. But have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwellings. But it doesn't say they have. It just says the word kindled or burned. It doesn't say they did it. So Jehovah could have done it. Or the two witnesses. It doesn't say they did it. Her dwelling places, so uh, they burned the dwelling places, which would be uh, Mishkan. It could also have a religious meaning, but it's more like houses than it is places of worship, but you have to leave room for that. But I think the context is the dwelling places. Her bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another. That's, wait a minute. It doesn't say post, it says run to meet another. So they're adding this in to give you the meaning. It's pretty kind of accurate, you know. Some kind of running messengers running to meet another, like they probably do relays to get messages. Maybe the comms are down and stuff. And one messenger to meet another to show the king of Babel that his city is taken at one end. Well, that's unless we see a change, Biden. And the passages are stopped, and the reeds they are burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. So they're still around, but they're scared. For thus say their bases are gone. For thus saith Jehovah of armies, Elohim Yisrael, the daughter of Babel is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her, yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. Okay, the threshing is what? The bad ones, the chaff, are burned up, and this fire's there, right? And the good stuff, the wheat, is gathered in the barn being Israel's second Exodus. It's not hard to understand. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babel, hath devoured me. Now, this could be a throwback to the old Nebuchadnezzar. He hath crushed me, he hath made me an empty vessel. He hath swallowed me up like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicacies. He hath cast me out. This is probably the attack on Israel by the Babylonians, destroying Solomon's temple, I would think. The violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babel, same unclean spirits running America is around the old Babylon. Shall the inhabitants of Zion say, and my blood upon the inhabitants of the Chaldeans shall Jerusalem say. Therefore, now it could mean they do a lot more bad stuff to Israel. October 7th could have just been the warm up, so we got to be observant to that. Therefore, thus, I do not think that they are going to be the ones to cut off the 2/3. I don't see this. Because how would they differentiate between the 2/3 and the 1/3? I don't know. It wouldn't work. Why would they not get the extra 1/3? You know, it doesn't seem to click with me. Pray about it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not seeing it. Therefore, thus saith Jehovah, behold, I will plead my cause and take vengeance for thee, and I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. This is probably going to happen after the battle's over. To make sure nobody is ever going to live there. And no source of water is extremely difficult to live there, right? And Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, and an astonishment, and a hissing without an inhabitant. People look at it and they, might go, like, what destruction? They shall roar together like lions, they shall yell as lions' whelps. In their heat, I will make their heat, as in orgy things. I will make their feasts, and I will make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith Jehovah. So they're probably not going to see this coming. You can't really, I've been explaining it to people that are not believers, and some of them are grasping it, but it's so scary to them because they don't understand, relax, this is prophecy being fulfilled. They see themselves on the bad receiving end of this, and it's very hard for them to swallow it. I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with he-goats. How is Sheshach, that's again a throwback to the old Babylon, taken, and how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is Babel become an astonishment among the nations? The seas come up upon Babel. This will probably happen after the invading armies get out. The wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous, so they're going to loot America, and then they'll attack us, and we'll loot them, probably in the Gog and Magog war. The sea has come up upon Babel and is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land, a wilderness, and a land wherein no man dwelleth. Neither doth any son of man pass thereby. And I will punish Bel in Babel, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which hath swallowed up. Now that's interesting. Who did Bel swallow up? Could this be the people that are kind of stuck in the churches? It could be. I don't know. But some of these people are going to be rescued, so I'm not sure. There's a likely meaning of those in the churches, okay? But I can't guarantee that. And it may be broader than that. That might just be part of it. I don't know. It could be people caught in cult religions and practices too. It could be that also. I don't know. And the nations shall not flow together anymore unto him. Well, where do they flow together now? Well, basically at the UN in New York. You could say they have their consulates and embassies in Washington, D.C., and that would be kind of like it, but I would say it's referencing the UN, because flow together would mean they come to meetings and stuff. Let's see what that really means. Beam, burn, oh, that's an interesting word. Sparkle, cheerful. Huh. So it's not exactly flow together. I would say the UN is the best bet. Yea, the wall of Babel shall fall. Yep. And they're really going to invade. My people, go you out of the midst of her. If you are his people, you will. And deliver every man his soul from the fierce anger of Jehovah. And lest your heart faint, and you fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. The rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that, in another year, shall come a rumor and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Well, we're starting to get there with Texas closing the border, defying Biden, and different ways like that. But ruler against ruler means the word is basilia. No, it's not. It's mashal. Sorry, wrong. But it means to have reign or rule. So there would have to at least be a mayor or a head of a county or more likely a governor of a state like Florida, Texas, Georgia, Mississippi, that kind of thing. Okay. Therefore, behold, and rumor 1 year and the next, there's been rumors for years going on over there. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babel, and her whole land shall be confounded. All her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heaven and the earth and all that therein shall sing for Babel. So if the heaven's going to sing happily when Babylon, when America's gone, and you're not happy about it, are you like Lot's wife and turned to salt, or are you like the despots in the churches that refuse to teach this? What are you like, You obviously don't have your mind the same as God, For Babel, for the spoilers shall come unto her from the north, Canada or Alaska, probably both, maybe. Now, Canada was hosting Chinese troops there to learn how to conduct operations in the harsh, cold weather of Canada, 2-3 years ago. Now, Canada could be hosting a massive amount of troops from North Korea, China, and Russia there, and we're not going to be told that because they don't want to start the American military revolting against the government. They could just be up there, and if people catch wind of it, which could be very difficult to do so, they'll just say, we were letting them practice cold weather training up there. Now, I don't know if they're there or not. I'm just saying it could be. As Babel hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babel shall fall the slain of all the earth. Now, what it says in the scriptures is, as Babel, slain of Israel, fall, so Babel fall, slain from all the earth. Okay. You that have escaped the sword, go away and stand not still. So it means get out of there and get a move on. Stand not still. Remember the Lord afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. Okay? They go to Israel. We are confounded because we have heard reproach, shame, and hath covered our faces. For strangers are come into the sanctuaries of the Lord's house. Now, there is no Lord's house here now. Now, this could happen in the future, but I think it's maybe a throwback to the past. Don't know on this one. I don't know about a future fulfillment. It could be the temple comes here very, very shortly and something like this, but I'm not seeing it in the scripture, so I think it's a throwback to the past. Wherefore, behold, the days come, saith Jehovah, that I will do judgment upon her graven images, and through all her land, the wounded shall groan. Though Babel should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers. Now, the word spoilers is really, it means things like deal violently. It's like rough, tough guys. Burly is a word, powerful is another, ravage, destroy. What happened to Israel on October 7th would meet it, you know. Should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith Jehovah. A sound of a cry cometh from Babel, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. Because Jehovah hath spoiled Babel, and destroyed out of her the great voice, when her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voice is uttered. Because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babel, and her mighty men are taken. Taken, what's that word mean? Captured. Well, it sounds like they've taken the military bases. Every one of their bows is broken. It sounds like they're destroying all the military weapons on the bases. For Jehovah El, I think it says, yeah, for Jehovah El, of recompenses, year of recompenses, shall surely requite. Oops. Requite's not a common word. Let's see how Strong interprets it. Make an end, I would say, is what it means here. And the requite word, make an end of it. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, the Satan bots, her captains and her rulers, same thing, and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith the King, whose name is Jehovah of armies. Thus saith Jehovah of armies, the broad walls of Babel. Now, you don't think of that word broad as meaning a wall is so, the walls of Mexico are so wide you could drive jeeps and trucks on them. They're not. But the word broad could also mean the lengthy walls. They must have 2,000 miles of walls. The broad walls of Babel shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire. And the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. Well, the American people are pretty weary now. Breaking the Mexico walls could be very simply done just by ramming them with a heavy pickup truck, a garbage truck, a big truck. They'll just come down. They can blow them up, shoot shoulder fire rockets into them in a million ways. The word which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Sariah the son of Neriah, the son of Messiah, when he went with Zedekiah, the king of Judah, into Babel, into the 4th year of his reign. And this Sariah was a quiet prince, so Jeremiah wrote in a book all the evil that should come upon Babel, even all these words that were written against Babel. And Jeremiah said to Sariah, when thou comest to Babel and shalt see and shalt read all these words, then shalt thou say, O Lord, thou hast spoken against this place to cut it off, that none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast, but that it shall be desolate forever. So I guess your dogs and cats go with you, I guess. I don't know. It says the beast won't be there. And it shall birds too, I suppose, you know. And it shall be when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind the stone to it and cast it into the midst of the Euphrates. Now, there's probably some value to it in the Euphrates, so pray we get the meaning of that. I'm not clear on that yet. That's an outer border of Israel from the Euphrates to the Nile, so I'm not sure what this is. And thou shalt say, thus shall Babel sink, and shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her, and they shall be weary. Thus far the words of Yeremahu or Jeremiah. Okay. Well, that's it. Uh, let me see if we got anything in the chat that I need to deal with. Okay. Because the Statue of Liberty is Columbia, as evidenced by the, it was a good question, as evidenced by the Columbia Motion Pictures icon, which is a pretty dead on match to the Statue of Liberty. And what is the capital of the United States, which is not in any of the states? It's a city. What is it called? The District of Columbia. You should be able to put the pieces together. It's an idol, a graven image. I love bashing America, huh? For no reason, right? Just because I like it, it gets views. Well, you could always play the video back if you came in late. Don't worry about it. Okay. Let me see if anybody sent any prayer requests in by email or anything like that. I don't see it. Let me look for prayer requests. That's a very important thing we do, especially for the people that put the prayer requests. And let me get back on my notes and see if I skipped anything. The destruction of the old Babylon does not in any way match, line up, or conform to the daughter of Babylon destruction. Forget that. Nothing. Cyrus came, tried to attack the walls of Babylon, failed, took his army, diverted the river that went under the wall of Babylon into 28 streams, had his army walk under the wall at night. The people of Babylon woke up and had their servants make them breakfast on the vine or the patio or whatever, and then they realized they were occupied. They realized they were occupied when they woke up in the world. Please get this. Please, please. America's already occupied. 7 million. Probably almost 5 million military-age males. It's already occupied. It's so much the same. Please get it. Please, please, please. Do you see it? Can you dig it? That gives me my age away, doesn't it? Can you dig it? So look, if you're a believer in Yeshua, you're not Israelite born. I don't care if you're yellow, green, purple, orange, whatever. You know, there are no yellow, there are no green or purple people. But whatever your color is, whatever your language is, whatever country you popped out of your mom in, it doesn't matter. If you're in Yeshua HaMashiach, you will be, and you're in America, you'll be in the Exodus coming to Israel. And if you're an Israelite by the flesh, you will get out too, for his name's sake. You will be in the wilderness, and if you want to screw up, you'll die in the wilderness and never make it into Israel. If you forget all your evil, all your calling on unclean spirits, idols, or whatever you were doing, then and you worship Jehovah and you're sincere, you'll make it into Israel, and you'll have a happy life, and you'll eventually receive eternal life and go from there. It'll be wonderful for you. Okay? Don't worry about it. If you're listening to me and believe it, what are you worried about? You know, I mean, years ago I started saying this, relax, prophecy's being fulfilled. He says he'll deliver you from the wrath to come. He will. He doesn't say he's going to wrap you up before the wrath comes. That's what the schmuck churches tell you. He's going to deliver you. How could he deliver you? A million ways. One way, taking Israel. I mean, come on. I love the color of this hat. I wish I had more hats this color. Probably my favorite color. It's not a very fine quality hat, but it's nice enough. Anyway, so you'll be delivered. What are you worried about? Look at the bright future. Now somebody's going to say, I got 6 dogs and 4 cats and 4 birds. They're all going to come with me. I don't know. It looks like that's the case, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't have all this information. Okay? Well, some of you may realize I know more scripture than a lot of people do. I also keep reminding you, I don't know a lot about the Bible. I think that I could sit here for another 40 or 50 years and still know very little about the Bible. If I was sitting here for 600 or 800 years, maybe I'd have a good dent in it, not complete. It's so much there. It's unbelievable. Maybe when we get the eternal life bodies, we'll be able to assimilate it then. Because I would expect we'd have a different brain. Maybe we could assimilate it then. Do I know that? No. Is it possible? I think so. I don't know. So don't get worried. Remember, what did Cyrus do? Cyrus went and tried to hit Babylon. Didn't work. Got smart. Took the river that went under the wall of Babylon. They had food stored up in Babylon for years. They had massive walls, like Mexico-America wall, but better. They rode chariots on the top of their walls. And it was big. And they had food there. They didn't give a hoot. Some army comes and tries to get us. What are they going to do to us? We got food. They go lay siege. They'll starve to death. They made fun of them. They drove the attack away. They made fun of them. And what did Cyrus do? Because he was working for the Lord. He diverted the river going under the wall of Babylon, had all his army divert it. So he took thousands and thousands of guys and shovels and stuff and axes and whatever they were using, and they broke it into 28 streams. So the water wasn't reaching the wall of Babylon. They just make these little artificial tributaries, and the water wasn't making it to Babylon anymore, right? They probably blocked it at some place or something. Whatever they did, they walked under the wall. And lots of them. And when the people woke up in the morning, they realized they were occupied. Now, what did that do? It didn't kill the Israelis that were in captivity there. If they laid a real siege and a real war, what would have happened? No, they would have had like thousands and thousands of archers just randomly shooting arrows and fire arrows, over the wall at people, killing anybody that happened to get hit by an arrow. They would take catapults and hurl rocks over the walls. Sometimes they took big balls of like grains or wheat or grass that was dry, and they put pitch or tar on it, and they lit it, and they put it in the catapult and threw those in, so they would have burned the place. They would have killed the Israelis, but God was not that mad at the Israelis that went into Babylon captivity, and he wanted to get them out. So he created this great method, just like he's going to get you out. He got them out of Babylon. I don't think any of them got killed. And he got them into Israel, and you will get out of America. Just like the original Babylon. Can you dig it? It's not that hard. Do you see how they woke up in the morning and they realized they were invaded? America hasn't woke up in the morning and realized that yet, but they're very aware there's a real problem, many of them. I mean, it's on Fox and CNN. But when the military bases get overrun, and it's not hard to do that. When I was in my old gun days in America, I had a friend that was in the military Department of Defense Police, and he used to guard one of the bases. And he told me there were, 9 Berettas guarding this big military. It was a Navy base, just 9 Berettas. They were riding around. That's all they had, protecting the base. Soldiers don't carry guns in these days. They keep them locked up. They can't bring personal weapons onto the base. They'll go to jail for that. Or they might be able to take a knife or brass knuckles or something, but bringing a gun in, no. No. Can't do that. So how many guys does it take to overrun a base? Not that much, really. They have guns, maybe 2,000, 3,000, 1,500. Maybe 800. It's not that much. They're going to have layouts. They're going to have maps. You have people practicing this religion that hates America in the military. They're going to know where the arsenals are and all that. I think they'll probably go in the thousands, though. And they're going to destroy. It looks like they will just destroy the bases and kill the guys. If you kill the guys, they don't have to do anything to the equipment. Just kill the soldiers. What good does it? Well, they got to be a little careful because the civilians could come in and use the equipment. So I guess they got to do it all. Get rid of the equipment and the soldiers. But they're going to kill the soldiers. They're not going to play hostages. Now, they may play rape on the women soldiers. I don't see why they won't. There'll probably be horrific deaths to some of the soldiers because of the nature of these people, but by and large they're going to be very busy and working very fast, and they may loot and pillage the base, but I don't know what they're going to get out of the military base. And not a lot. Hit the PX and they'll get some stuff out of there, but not much. I don't know what they're going to get. It's I don't think they need 20,000 to overrun a base. I don't think they need anywhere near that. once the soldiers realize what's happening, they'll try to make an end run and get the guns and weapons, and they're going to need pretty sufficient numbers to stop that. I don't know exactly. It's going to be different from base to base, and there's a lot of bases in America, so they're going to need a lot of people, but they have a lot of people. And then they're going to loot and pillage cities, and they're going to, it's going to be quite a thing. Quite a thing. Yet you're going to leave with gold and silver, I bet. Maybe not from the daughter of Babylon, maybe just on the second Exodus, or maybe from that. I don't know. I think this is a separate harvest at or about the same time as the second Exodus. This probably precedes the second Exodus. And Israel doesn't have to be greater Israel doesn't yet have to be under the control of 2 witnesses, because you have to first stop in the wilderness, so it leaves time. But I think we're about there with the time. I think your wait is going to be weeks, not months. Pray for more clarification on the waiting and the timing. We'll probably get it. So it's this could be my most important video in 10 years. The invasion's there already. It's maybe not completely complete, but it's complete enough. I mean, just like what happened to Babylon. Okay. I'll take a last look at the chat and see if we got questions, because I do respect questions. Someone said they had dreams of this. Pray for Orlando's tooth. Okay, prayer request for someone named Orlando for their tooth. I expect that they want no pain and healing for the tooth. So for Orlando's tooth, no pain and healing. I guess that would cover the prayer request. You can dig it. I like that. Do I think the wilderness is in the Middle East or perhaps various places around the world? No, it's probably in one place. And I don't know. It's probably near Israel, but I don't know. I really don't know. We can pray for that, though. But I don't know. Probably near Israel in the Middle East. Probably one of the Arab countries near here. I don't know more than that. Okay, I'm Moshe. My wife's Rivka. Please pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy, healing, and pray for our animals and pets that are all rescues to be happy, healthy, and whole. And thank you for the offerings. We appreciate it. Their offering information is in the description box under the video. I also can take PayPal. Send me an email, and I'll send you the PayPal link. Because I don't like posting it, because you get a lot of nutty people. So just send me an email. My email address is in the description box on the last line down. It's israelgiving with the number 7@gmail.com. And pray for better videos, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, pray for more insights, and we'll get it. And I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And it looks like I managed to cut this video down some. I got to work on getting it even less, but at least I did okay. Today was a long one. All right, kids, I'm out. Thank you.